My son said I was worthless, so I showed him the cost of disrespect. I never thought I'd be sitting here telling you this story. My hands are still shaking as I type this out, and honestly, I'm not even sure where to begin. But I need to get this off my chest because what happened between my son and me 3 weeks ago changed everything. And I mean everything. My name is Sarah, and I'm a single mother of 2. I've been raising my kids alone for the past 8 years after my ex-husband decided that his secretary was more important than his family. But that's not what this story is about. This is about the moment my 17-year-old son, Tyler, looked me dead in the eye and said the words that nearly broke me completely. It was a Tuesday evening, around 6:30. I had just gotten home from my second job. You see, I work as a nurse during the day at Memorial Hospital, and 3 nights a week I clean offices downtown just to make ends meet. I know it sounds exhausting, and trust me, it is. But when you're a single mom trying to keep your kids fed, clothed, and in a decent school district, you do what you have to do. I walked through the front door of our small 2-bedroom apartment, and the first thing I noticed was the mess. Pizza boxes on the coffee table, soda cans everywhere. Tyler's friends sprawled across my living room playing video games at full volume. The smell of teenage boys and junk food hit me like a wall. I took a deep breath and walked over to the TV, turning down the volume. "Tyler," I said, trying to keep my voice calm, "I asked you to clean up before I got home." That's when he looked up at me with those cold, distant eyes that I barely recognized anymore. The same eyes that used to light up when I'd read him bedtime stories. The same eyes that used to look at me like I was his whole world. "God, Mom, you're so annoying," he said, not even pausing his game. "We're in the middle of something important here." His friends snickered, and I felt my cheeks burn with embarrassment, but I pushed through it. "Tyler, I work 2 jobs to keep this roof over your head. The least you can do is show me some respect and keep our home clean." He threw his controller down and stood up, towering over me. When did he get so tall? When did my little boy become this stranger who looked at me like I was nothing? "Respect?" he laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Mom, you work as a janitor. You clean up other people's messes for a living. You drive a car that's held together with duct tape, and you buy our clothes from thrift stores. What exactly am I supposed to respect about that?" The room went silent. Even his friends looked uncomfortable. But Tyler wasn't done. "Face it, Mom, you're worthless. You've never accomplished anything with your life, and now you're just some pathetic woman who can't even afford to feed her own kids properly. Maybe if you actually had some value, Dad wouldn't have left you for someone better." The words hit me like physical blows. I stood there, frozen, as my 17-year-old son systematically destroyed every ounce of self-worth I had left. His friends were staring at their phones now, pretending they couldn't hear what was happening. My daughter Emma was at her friend's house, thank God, so she didn't have to witness this moment. I don't remember walking to my bedroom. I don't remember closing the door behind me, but I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, staring at the wall, and wondering if maybe Tyler was right. Maybe I was worthless. Maybe I had failed as a mother, as a woman, as a human being. I cried that night. Hard, ugly tears that I muffled into my pillow so Tyler wouldn't hear. I thought about all the sacrifices I'd made, all the nights I'd worked late, all the times I'd gone without so my kids could have what they needed. And for what? So my own son could look at me with disgust and tell me I was nothing? But you know what? As I lay there in the dark, something inside me shifted. Maybe it was anger. Maybe it was determination. Or maybe it was just pure survival instinct. But I realized that Tyler needed to learn something that apparently I had failed to teach him. Respect isn't given based on how much money you make or what car you drive. Respect is earned through character, sacrifice, and love. The next morning, I woke up with a plan. I called in sick to both of my jobs, which I had never done before in 8 years. Then I went to Tyler's room and knocked on the door. "We need to talk," I said. He was still in bed, probably hungover from whatever he and his friends had gotten into after I went to my room. "Mom, I'm tired. Can we do this later?" "No, Tyler. We're doing this now." I sat down on his desk chair and looked at him seriously. "You think I'm worthless? You think what I do for a living makes me less than other people? Okay, I'm going to give you exactly what you want." He sat up, looking confused. "What are you talking about?" I'm talking about showing you what worthless really looks like. For the next 2 weeks, you're going to experience life without your worthless mother doing anything for you. Tyler rolled his eyes. Mom, you're being dramatic. Am I? Well, let's see. Starting right now, I won't be buying groceries, I won't be doing laundry, I won't be paying for your phone, your internet, or any of the other things that my worthless job provides. You want to be treated like an adult who doesn't need his pathetic mother? Congratulations, you just got your wish. The look on his face was priceless. You can't be serious. Tyler, I have never been more serious about anything in my life. You're 17 years old. You think you know everything about the world and about what makes a person valuable. So here's your chance to prove it. Show me how easy it is to take care of yourself without your worthless mother. I stood up and headed for the door, then turned back. Oh, and Tyler, if you want to eat, you'll need to figure out how to buy food. If you want clean clothes, you'll need to figure out how to wash them. And if you want to keep your phone turned on, you'll need to figure out how to pay that bill yourself. Good luck. I walked out of his room and didn't look back, even though every instinct in my body was screaming at me to turn around and tell him I was kidding. But I wasn't kidding. Not this time. The first day was the hardest. I watched Tyler search through our empty pantry and refrigerator, looking for something to eat. I had to physically restrain myself from offering to make him breakfast. Instead, I sat at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee and my laptop, pretending to work while he rummaged around. Mom, there's nothing to eat, he said finally. I know, I replied without looking up. I usually go grocery shopping on Tuesdays after work, but since I'm worthless, I figured you wouldn't want me to bother. Tyler stared at me for a long moment, then grabbed his backpack and left for school without saying another word. When Emma came home that afternoon, she immediately noticed something was different. Mom, why is Tyler being so weird? He asked me if I had any money for food. I explained the situation to Emma, who's 15 and generally more mature than her older brother. She listened carefully and then nodded. Good, she said simply. Tyler's been acting like a spoiled brat lately. Maybe this will teach him something. Emma had always been more appreciative of what I did for our family. She helped with chores without being asked. She thanked me when I bought her things, and she never once made me feel ashamed of our financial situation. The contrast between my two children had become increasingly stark over the past year. By day 3, Tyler was getting desperate. He had tried to sweet-talk his way into free food at school, but that only worked for so long. He had borrowed money from friends, but teenagers don't have much to spare. He had even tried to guilt-trip his grandmother into sending him cash, but I had already called her and explained what was happening. Sarah, honey, my mother had said when I told her about Tyler's words, that boy needs to learn some respect. You stick to your guns. I raised you better than he's treating you, and it's time he learned that. On day 4, Tyler came home with a job application. He had applied to work at the McDonald's down the street. I felt a surge of pride mixed with sadness. Pride that he was taking initiative. Sadness that it had taken such extreme measures to get him there. I need you to sign this, he said, avoiding eye contact. Since I'm not 18 yet. I looked at the application carefully. This says you want to work 20 hours a week. How are you planning to balance that with school and homework? Tyler shifted uncomfortably. I figured it out. I can work evenings and weekends. I signed the form without comment and handed it back to him. He started to walk away, then turned back. Mom, I'm sorry about what I said the other night. I didn't mean it. I looked at him for a long moment. Tyler, the fact that you said those words tells me that on some level, you did mean them. Or at least, you don't understand why they were so hurtful. So we're going to continue this exercise until you really understand what I do for this family. His shoulders sagged, but he nodded and went to his room. Tyler got the job at McDonald's. His first shift was the following Saturday, and I watched him get ready with a mixture of emotions I couldn't quite name. He had borrowed a white shirt from a friend and had tried to iron his khakis himself, leaving them with wrinkles that would have made me cringe under normal circumstances. When he came home that evening, he looked exhausted. His shirt was stained with grease, his hair was disheveled, and he moved like every muscle in his body ached. How was work? I asked, not unkindly. Tyler slumped into a chair at the kitchen table. Terrible. My manager is this guy named Dave who's only like 2 years older than me, but he acts like he's my boss or something. He is your boss, I pointed out gently. Yeah, but he doesn't have to be such a jerk about it. And the customers, Tyler shook his head. Mom, some of them are so rude. This one lady yelled at me because her fries weren't hot enough, and this guy threw his receipt at me because I forgot to ask if he wanted ketchup packets. I nodded, remembering my own experiences with difficult customers when I was younger. What else? My feet hurt so bad I can barely walk, and I smell like French fry oil. I've got another shift tomorrow, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. Tyler worked at McDonald's for a week before he truly understood what I had been trying to teach him. He came home on Friday night with his first paycheck, and I watched him stare at it in disbelief. Mom, he said quietly, this is only $43, after taxes. How many hours did you work? 8 hours. I worked 8 hours for $43. He looked up at me with something that might have been the beginning of understanding. How do you do it? How do you work so much and still have energy to take care of us? That's when I decided it was time for the next part of Tyler's education. Come with me to work tomorrow, I said. I'll show you exactly how I do it. Saturday morning, Tyler met me at Memorial Hospital at 6 a.m. for my nursing shift. I had gotten permission from my supervisor to bring him along as a volunteer, which meant he could observe but couldn't interact with patients directly. I'll never forget the look on Tyler's face when he saw me in action for the first time. He watched me check on Mr. Patterson, an elderly man recovering from hip surgery who called me Angel every time I adjusted his pillows. He saw me comfort Mrs. Rodriguez, whose chemotherapy treatments left her nauseous and scared. He witnessed me stay an extra hour past my shift to hold the hand of a teenage girl who had been in a car accident and was crying for her mother. Mom, Tyler whispered as we walked down the hallway. Everyone here loves you. I do my job well, I said simply. I care about people, and they can tell. After my shift at the hospital, we went to the office building where I cleaned 3 nights a week. Tyler followed me from floor to floor, watching me empty trash cans, vacuum carpets, and scrub bathrooms. He saw me take pride in my work, making sure every surface was spotless, every window streak-free. This is hard work, he said, after we finished the 3rd floor. It is, I agreed, but it's honest work, and it pays the bills. There's no shame in working hard to take care of your family. On the drive home, Tyler was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke up. Mom, I want to quit McDonald's. My heart sank. Had I failed to get through to him? Why? Because I want to focus on school. I want to get good grades so I can get a scholarship to college. I want to become something that makes you proud. I had to pull over because tears were blurring my vision. Tyler, I'm already proud of you. You're smart, you're capable, and when you put your mind to it, you're kind and thoughtful. But I wasn't proud of how you were treating me and talking about our family. Tyler was crying too now. Mom, I'm so sorry. I was showing off for my friends, and I said things that I knew would hurt you. You're not worthless. You're the strongest person I know. You work harder than anyone I've ever met, and you do it all for Emma and me. We sat in that car for 20 minutes, both of us crying and talking about things we should have discussed months ago. Tyler told me about the pressure he felt at school, how some of his friends came from wealthy families, and he felt embarrassed about our apartment, our car, our life. I told him about my own struggles with self-doubt, about the nights I wondered if I was failing as a mother. Mom, Tyler said as we finally headed home, I want to help more. I want to get a part-time job after school, but I want to give you the money to help with bills. And I want to take care of Emma sometimes, so you don't have to worry about finding babysitters when you work evenings. That was 3 weeks ago. Tyler did quit McDonald's, but he found a job at the local library that works better with his school schedule. He gives me half of his paycheck every week, and he's brought his grades up from C's to A's and B's. More importantly, he treats me with respect now. He thanks me when I cook dinner, he helps with grocery shopping, and he brags to his friends about his mom who's a nurse. Emma has been watching all of this unfold, and she told me last week that she's proud of both Tyler and me. You didn't give up on him, she said. Even when he was being horrible, you found a way to teach him instead of just punishing him. Sometimes the toughest love is the kind that forces someone to see the truth about themselves and the world around them. Tyler needed to understand that respect isn't based on income or status. He needed to learn that calling someone worthless says more about your character than theirs, and he needed to experience firsthand what it feels like to work hard just to survive. But here's the thing I want you to understand. If you're watching this and you're a parent dealing with a disrespectful teenager, or if you're a young person who doesn't appreciate what your parents do for you, love doesn't mean accepting unacceptable behavior. Sometimes love means setting boundaries, even when it's painful. Sometimes love means letting someone struggle so they can learn and grow. I'm not saying my approach was perfect. There were moments during those 2 weeks when I questioned whether I was being too harsh, whether I was damaging my relationship with my son permanently. But I knew that if I didn't take a stand, Tyler would continue down a path that would ultimately hurt him more than it hurt me. If you're a parent watching this, I want you to know that you're not alone in your struggles. Single parenting is the hardest job in the world, and there are days when you'll question every decision you make. But don't let anyone, not even your own children, make you feel worthless for the sacrifices you make out of love. And if you're a young person watching this, I want you to really think about how you treat the people who love you most. Your parents aren't perfect, but they're human beings with feelings, dreams, and struggles just like you. The words you say in anger can cause damage that lasts a lifetime, but it's never too late to apologize, to change, and to show appreciation for the people who have shaped your life. Tyler learned that respect isn't something you give based on someone's job title or bank account. Respect is something you give to people who love you, support you, and sacrifice for you every single day. He learned that his mother wasn't worthless, she was priceless. As I'm finishing up this story, Tyler just knocked on my door to tell me goodnight. He does that every evening now, and he always ends with, "I love you, Mom. Thank you for everything you do for us." 3 weeks ago, I thought I had failed as a mother. Tonight, I know that sometimes the best thing you can do for someone you love is show them what life would be like without you. Not to punish them, but to help them understand just how much you're really worth. If this story resonated with you, I'd love to hear about your own experiences in the comments below. Have you ever had to teach someone a difficult lesson about respect? How did you handle it? And if you're a young person who's realized you need to appreciate your parents more, what steps are you taking to show them how much they mean to you? Thank you for listening to my story. Sometimes the most important conversations are the hardest ones to have, but they're worth it when they bring families closer together. Subscribe if you want to hear more real stories about parenting, relationships, and life's unexpected lessons. And remember, you are never worthless when you're loving and caring for others, no matter what anyone else might say.